Hello and welcome to my next smartwatch review. Today we have the Rogbid M2 smartwatch. Now what I'm going to do in this first segment is show you what comes out of the box. The company reached out to me and asked if I would accept this product for free in exchange for a full, fair, and honest review, and that's exactly what this is, and that's exactly why I feel it's incumbent upon me to tell you when I get a product for free. That might flavor any reviewer's opinion, but at this point, they've sent me the watch. I can say whatever the heck I want to say about it. And I feel like I have enough of a track record established at this point with over 200 smartwatch reviews on my fitness tracker and smartwatch review playlist on YouTube that I've established some amount of trust and objectivity here. So, okay, it looks like a couple wipes here, one wet and one dry to prepare the face of the watch to apply a screen protector, and this is generally going to be some sort of glass or thick plastic to put down. There it is right there. So it comes with a screen protector. The watch itself, the charging cable, which is a USB type A on one end. You charge that into a plug that into a charging brick, and then the other end is going to go on clips, like magnetically stick to the back of the smartwatch. Let me check this back sensor to see if there's a protective cover on here, and yes, there is. Let me peel that off, and this one is not going to want to come out or come off in one piece here. So let me peel that thing off there. You always want to check these devices for any sort of protective film over the sensors, because anything that comes in contact between you, your skin, and the sensor is going to interfere with their accuracy and their measurement. Let me zoom in just a bit here. Now, and just the way these lights are flashing tells me this watch has some charge in it. You'll notice this is a GPS watch, all right? You see a face come to life here. Let's just go through. Let's go scroll down brightness. Let me turn that up. Let me get into settings, screen on time. Let's go to 60 seconds. It vibrated to give me that haptic feedback so I know it did something. It's going to have a lot of menus in here. It's a good looking watch. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But let me go away, charge it up fully, and then wear it for several days, and then come back with my full, fair, and honest review. This was really just to show you what comes out of the box. Before you see this review, you will next see the K-Tic Tank 5 watch that I've been wearing for a week here. This review will be coming next, and then right after that will be the Pobovi Smart Ring review. I've been wearing this for almost a week now, so that one will come next, then this Smart Ring, and then we'll get to this Rogbid M2. These smartwatches are now starting to flow again from manufacturers in China, so I hope to bring more of these to you soon. This all supports my channel and my kayaking adventures at davethekayaker.com, so stay tuned. I'll have my full, fair, and honest review in just a few seconds through the magic of editing. Okay, here I am. I'm back. We're about 2 weeks into things here of testing this watch, and I like it a lot. Let me swipe down and turn that brightness setting back up. I turn that down when I test these things just to save as much battery life as possible. Let me turn the on time to 60 seconds here again for the purposes of this review. There's one button on the side here that you press that can make it come to life if you have the lift your wrist feature turned off, which I usually turn off. It is a very big, bright, beautiful display. Okay, let's start there. It's an HD AMOLED display with Corning Gorilla Glass, and it's 1.6 inches in diameter, and it's 466 by 466 pixels, so it is a bright, beautiful display, and depending what watch face you have on here, it can give you quite a comprehensive indication of what's going on. Obviously, the face I started with is the one I liked, and that's the one I've been using for testing. And you see at the top here, you have your day and date, you have your last heart rate, you have your estimated kilocalorie burn for the day, you have your estimated distance walked, you have your total number of steps on the bottom, and then you have your battery life indicator. Let's also talk about the battery. This thing has a whopping 810 milliamp hour battery. This is going to last you a couple weeks, and they say 13 days for sort of heavy usage and 27 days of typical usage. I believe that. I really haven't had to recharge this in a couple weeks, and that's using the GPS a few times per week for, you know, an hour or so or less. So the battery life is amazing. I will point out one flaw I've seen with this watch, and that is this little pin up here holding the wristband to the watch itself, the case, has kind of been slipping out. Now, I found if you just wiggle the other end of it and get it to line up where it fits in, you can just push that thing right back in there, and wiggling it sometimes is a little challenging there. It just went right in. But I will say this watch is currently in a Kickstarter campaign, and they're still working out the kinks. Hopefully they'll address that. That's really the only flaw I found in this watch, is that little pin slowly backs out over time, but it's only been the top one. The bottom one's been fine, so they'll probably address that before they launch this product. Okay, so let's swipe from left to right and let's go through this. This has an offline map feature, okay? So this is a GPS watch, and it has offline map tracking, which is relatively unique to find in a smartwatch, all right? Here is your dial pad. When tethered to your phone via Bluetooth Low Energy, you can make and take calls from this watch. It's got a built-in speaker and microphone. That works just fine. You see call records here. Here's the call I made, and it works just fine. You can import your contacts if you wish. And that's a privacy thing, depending if you want to do that or not. Let's go back up here. Let's see. Dial pad, call records. There's your contacts that you can import, your daily activity. That's a summary, again, of your estimated kilocalorie burn, your number of steps, and your estimated mileage walked for the day. And you can scroll up and see that graphed over the course of the day, the steps, weekly summary. So it's got a nice little summary there. Here is your heart rate in beats per minute. You can take those measurements and set it up through the app to do these automatically. This is really sort of a health monitoring watch as well as a GPS watch. It does blood oxygen saturation, SpO2, and you can't see it. It knows it's not against my wrist, but it has the red diodes in there also, which I like. I believe those are more accurate for SpO2 or blood oxygen saturation measurements. It's got a PAI analysis, and that stands for Personal Activity Intelligence. And that just gives you a score. It takes a look at things like your heart rate variability, and your activity levels. And it does some analysis and gives you a score of, whether it thinks you're sort of in a healthy range for what's going on. I'm in a normal range here. And you can dig in, and it'll tell you what the values mean, and how it's calculated. So that's all in there. Gives you some health indications. It'll kind of detect your emotion, again, based on some of these health parameters it's measuring. It will give you a fatigue level, a stress level. It will pull in the weather from your phone, again, when you're tethered with your phone via Bluetooth Low Energy and you sync the app with the watch. It will pull in the weather from your phone, and it'll give you a full 4 or 5 days worth of forecast here. So you get today's temperature, current highs and lows, and 1, 2, 3, the next 3 days on top of today. All right, so that's good. Here are your exercises, and there are plenty of exercises in here. Some of these it can detect, I think it's 10 of them, it will detect automatically when you start engaging in them, and then there's, I think, over 100 in total. Some of them will turn on the GPS. The outdoor ones will turn on GPS when you're engaged in them. Here are your exercise records, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on these in the app when I do a review of that. Your workout status, sedentary reminder you can set. It's got a remote camera shutter that you can take a picture from your phone, with your phone from your watch. When you're tethered via Bluetooth, you can just shake your wrist and snap that shutter remotely. You can put alarms on here. It will give you a sleep analysis. Again, we'll dive into this in more detail in the app, but it gives you sort of an analysis if you're deep in light sleep, whether it's normal or not, your respiration rate. Here are your notifications. You can control the music on your phone from the watch, again, when connected via Bluetooth. There's a 28-day cycle tracker for female health. It's got a stopwatch, timer, calendar, some breath training, voice assistant. It's an altimeter in here built in. All right, so it gives you the air pressure, which is pretty neat. You don't find that in a lot of smartwatches, and pretty neat. Yeah, I'm 190 meters above sea level right now. And it's got a compass built in as well. Again, a feature you don't find in all smartwatches. This one is, it's the Rogbid M2, and it's sort of a very rugged outdoor GPS smartwatch that also does a fairly credible job with kind of health tracking. It's one of the more rugged designs I've seen. It's waterproof to 3 atmospheres, which means it's good to 30 meters. It's got a world clock, offline map, as we talked about already, cloud trajectory. That is sort of the GPS tracks that you've done. All right, plotted on a map. Let's go back here. And then you can get into your settings. There's Find My Phone, the brightness, screen on. You can adjust that time, dial switch, always on display. This does have an always on display, and I've tested that. That works fine. Do not disturb mode, power saving mode, notifications, languages, recent call history, vibration intensity. I have it on gentle. You can change that to intense or turn it off. There's that calculator. You can restart it. You can reset it. You can turn the power off. There is the QR code to get to the app that we will talk about in, I don't know, about 30 seconds here. Audio setup, and then the health monitoring, I have that enabled. And in the app, you can change the settings. You can do some updates, card style, and whatnot. From the main screen, if you swipe up, you get to notifications. This can pull in your SMS messages from your smartphone. Those work. I've tested those, and those work just fine. And that's it, really. You either swipe down or swipe up, or swipe from left to right. And those are the main menus. If you swipe from right to left, you kind of get to a shortcut menu to all the other menus here to get to your various modes that we just went through. So that's a nice little shortcut as well, sort of a comprehensive screen with everything going on. Let's go take a look at the app. The app here is called ZD Fit. That's Z Delta FIT. ZD Fit's the name of the app. Let's tap that, get into the app. Now to sync it with the watch, you just swipe down and you will see it do the update. It'll pull the data in from the smartwatch itself. It's got a battery indicator right here at the top. That little flashing warning sign is just telling me I need to enable it, permission to my contacts and images to set an avatar image. That's all that means. But it gives you your number of steps for the day on the top left here, your distance, your kilocalorie burn. Here are your sports records right below that. I can click on more. And now here is a kayaking trip I did a couple weeks ago. And the kayaking mode on this watch does not turn on the GPS, so I had to tell it I was outdoor running to turn the GPS on. but this was a 7.5 mile paddle, and you can zoom in on the map to see, you know, where you started and where you ended. So that's all pretty cool to get those maps. You get your total time engaged in the activity, your average pace, number of steps, estimated kilocalorie burn, your cadence breakdown, stride, pace, kilometer pace per mile. That's all pretty cool and pretty neat. And if we go back into the exercise modes, here's an indoor stationary bike workout I did. And then I did a bunch of walking last week, and I turned it on as I was going back and forth to work. And you can see, you know, where I started here by the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, across the National Mall to where I was working for the week in Washington, D.C. So that's pretty neat. Again, tells you how long you walked, your heart rate average, your pace, total number of steps, total time engaged in the activity, kilocalorie burn, and your maximum heart rate. And then it gives you also a minimum heart rate, and you can look at your heart rate graph over the course of the measurement. When I walk, I tend to get up to speed and keep walking at that speed unless I hit a red light. So that was pretty standard and pretty level, I should say, pretty constant. Cadence and stride, pace, you get the idea. So I like the GPS features. I like the fact that it will give you the map both in the app and on the watch itself. Then moving down, we have exercise records here, and we can look at the total weekly totals from the week. Last week, 8 miles total, 2.5 hours essentially engaged in exercise time, kilocalorie burn. Here is a sleep breakdown from the night before, and you can look back at the weeks and months, and it gives you an analysis of deep sleep versus light sleep versus awake times. And it gives you some scores here too. It tells you if your sleep is good or bad or ugly. And you can scroll back to previous days and take a look at your sleep and get an idea of how you're doing sleep-wise. Here's that heart rate variability. There's your brand. This is really just sort of a health effect type of measurement, your respiratory rate level, whether it's high or low, and gives you some indications about that. Here's that SpO2, or blood oxygen saturation in percentage. So, generally blood oxygen range, mine is between 93 and 99%. So that's good blood oxygen levels there. There's that stress monitor, emotions. It tells me I'm joyful, my stress level is normal, my fatigue is normal, and my personal activity intelligence tells me I'm passable, whatever that means. But I could read here and it will tell me sort of what that does mean. All right, here are your sports modes, and you can go in here and start these from the watch itself. From the app itself or from the watch itself, okay? And then your dials, you can change your dial faces. Here's the one custom one I loaded. And then you can get into your equipment. You see it's the M2. You can see when you last synced, your battery life, smartwatch settings. Here is where you would decide if you wanted to sync contacts. You could do that. I do not, just for personal security reasons, really. When I do these reviews, I don't want my whole contact list revealed to the world on YouTube. So I typically don't share my contact list. Selective workout types. Here is one I added from the list for kayaking that was not one of the default ones on the watch. Cycle records, that would be 28-day cycle tracking. You can do a smart wake up, that would be lift your wrist, and you can change from 12 to 24-hour time formats. You can change your units from metric to imperial, Celsius to Fahrenheit, or vice versa. You can set your daily goals for steps, distance, calories, and sleep. And here's your camera shutter. If you want to use the watch as a camera shutter, here's where you would set alarms, okay, and reminders. Let's go back, and healthy detection. You can decide what you want to turn on in terms of automatic detection. I have automatic heart rate detection turned on, and I'm only doing it every 60 minutes. Obviously, you can decrease that interval if you wish, and you can set a start time and end time during the day, where if you don't want to measure it while you're sleeping, for instance, or you don't want to measure the 8 hours while you're in an office or something like that, you can turn it off in between those hours. It's got a sedentary reminder, a drink water reminder, and a do not disturb feature here. Here is the weather, where you can pull that in from your phone to the watch. Notifications, you can decide what notifications to enable to send to your watch from your phone. And here's a pretty good list of everything that's there. So you have an idea of what's possible. Here is your GPS. And this is this will occasionally do updates on the GPS. That's happened to me, I think, twice in the 2 weeks I've had it. It's updated the GPS, and then it gives you your firmware version, and you can check for new firmware, and this tells me I've got the latest version already. So that's the app. I like it. Again, it's called ZD Fit, Z Delta Fit. I like it. It's comprehensive. It's easy. It's straightforward, and it's pretty comprehensive. So there you have it, the Rogbid M2. It's got a tungsten steel bezel on it here, and I'll pop it off so you can see the thickness and the sensors on the back. This is on a Kickstarter campaign right now. This is not even available to the public. So I will drop a link to the Kickstarter campaign, and then I think they're offering sort of a pre-register special price right now. So click through that link below and check that out. It's a thick watch. You're going to have a pretty decently sized wrist to pull this off, I believe. There are those sensors on the back. It is a really good looking watch. I like it a lot. Go check it out on the Kickstarter campaign, the Rogbid M2. I recommend it. I like it, and I think if they work that one little kink out of it before they launch it as a product, it'll be a true winner. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Click that like button, leave a comment, share this channel with others, subscribe. That helps me get the word out to bring you more reviews. So stay tuned. I got this smart ring review coming up next. This smart ring will actually do an EKG measurement, and then I've got some more fun surprises ahead. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for your time and attention today. That's the most valuable commodity of yours that I could possibly ask for. So thank you.